Some news from the world over. The Vatican announced the resignation of Buffalo, New York Bishop Richard Malone this week. Malone has been under intense scrutiny for nearly 2 years for his alleged mishandling of credible accusations of sex abuse by priests in his diocese. Bishop Malone's critics say he ignored valid allegations against priests and failed to relieve offenders of their duties. The Vatican accepted the resignation and gave no explanation for the early retirement. Malone has admitted to mistakes in some abuse cases in Buffalo, but insisted repeatedly he would not step down. Bishop Edward Scharfenberger of Albany has been named apostolic administrator until a new bishop is chosen. The 8 Catholic dioceses in New York have been hit with over 500 lawsuits in the wake of a recent state law allowing victims 1 year to sue over abuse that occurred outside the statute of limitations. All of this is curiously related to our next story, and one of the big stories of the week, a bombshell revelation that has shocked the faithful. The 21st of December beatification of Venerable Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen has been indefinitely postponed. The Diocese of Peoria, in a statement, said, quote, "With deep regret, Bishop Daniel Janke of Peoria announces that he has been informed by the Holy See that the beatification of Fulton Sheen will be postponed. Bishop Janke is deeply saddened by the decision. Bishop Janke is even more concerned for the many faithful who are devoted to Sheen and who will be afflicted by this news." So far, the Vatican has given no reason for the delay, but the Diocese of Peoria cited several U.S. bishops who requested further consideration of the cause. According to reports, Bishop Salvatore Matano of Rochester demanded that the cause be re-examined and delayed for fear that Sheen might be mentioned in the pending New York Attorney General's report on dioceses and their handling of sex abuse in the state. The Diocese of Peoria explicitly said the postponement was not due to any allegations related to sexual abuse by Sheen himself. Now, I've been working this story all week, and I have some new information to share with you exclusively. After years of delay and wrangling over the body of Bishop Sheen, which included lawsuits and a battle between Sheen's family and the Archdiocese of New York, his remains were finally released to Peoria by court order this past summer. What I learned this week from highly placed sources at the Vatican in New York and in Peoria is that in late June of last year, once the court order demanded that Sheen's body be moved to Peoria, Bishop Matano of Rochester suddenly produced new documents concerning Sheen's handling of abusers in the Rochester Diocese between 1966 and 1969. According to Monsignor James Cruz of Peoria, he and a lawyer, along with multiple Vatican offices, examined those documents, which concerned 2 priests, and cleared Sheen of any wrongdoing. I am told by my Vatican sources that the Secretariat of State and the Congregation for Saints did their own investigations and declared that there was no obstacles to the cause proceeding. Now, that's when they sent official notification to Peoria that the beatification would proceed and offered the date of December 21st for the formal beatification. This is where things get interesting. Why delay a cause that has been thoroughly vetted by multiple congregations? Well, we can't say for certain, but the timeline might furnish some answers. When Rome sent word that the beatification was moving forward, Bishop Matano of Rochester fired off a blistering letter to the Vatican asking the cause to be delayed, citing the Attorney General's report. Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York and Blaise Cupich of Chicago were copied on that letter. I am told, again, by multiple Vatican sources, that it was Dolan and Cupich who went to the very highest offices in Rome to press for the delay of the cause. Out of an overabundance of caution, Rome agreed to their request. In Sheen's biography, or autobiography rather, Treasure in Clay, he alludes to, quote, trials inside and outside the church. What he didn't share was the story of his relationship with Cardinal Francis Spellman of New York, the man responsible in the late 50s for removing Sheen from TV and icing him out of speaking in his own diocese. Now, he did this because Sheen refused to use money for the missions, money that Sheen controlled, to pay Spellman millions of dollars for free milk donated to the diocese by the government. Sheen's integrity cost him a lot. Spellman's was a cruel, petty act driven by ego and envy. And apparently, even in death, Sheen is still being victimized for his good works. He was a master evangelist. He reached tens of millions of people a week who used his platform to convert thousands and thousands of people. And sometimes when you're in the public eye, envy is stoked. There is no answer or explanation for jealousy. The point here is Sheen is blameless. In fact, in the two cases that Rochester produced on those documents, the two cases that were studied in Rome demonstrate that Sheen did what other bishops in the 60s and 70s and even today should have done. He refused to allow an abuser to return to ministry. Father Gerard Gooley, who was charged with abuse in Rochester, asked Sheen back in the late 70s to be reassigned after his abuse was discovered. Sheen refused, and according to Monsignor Cruz in Peoria, during his administration, he never put children in harm's way. But regardless of the facts, the Bishop of Rochester, aided by Cardinal Dolan and Cardinal Cupich, pressed for this delay until the New York Attorney General report is issued, for fear that Sheen might be mentioned there. So let me get this straight. The Catholic Church is now relegating a beatification to civil authorities, even after it has conducted its own investigation. With all due respect, if you live by the Attorney General, you will die by him. I only hope when the New York Attorney General files his report, other bishops come out with as clean a record as Archbishop Sheen. There's been a lot of outlandish reporting surrounding this case this week. Some suggested Sheen shielded abusers. Others referred to a 2007 court case that mentioned Sheen walking in on a coworker at the Society for the Propagation of Faith. That story has already been thoroughly vetted and dismissed. It was dismissed years ago. What I've given you are the facts as we've gathered them this week. In a nutshell, it seems like another clerical roadblock to this cause, driven by heaven knows what. My question is this: after 2 decades of investigation and interviews and vetting of these very documents from Rochester, why delay the beatification? Allow it to proceed and raise any subsequent questions during the canonization process. There is another round to this. This is a tragedy for the Church and those who looked forward to the advancement of Sheen's cause. The faithful are scandalized. The Vatican should clear this up quickly and allow the cause to proceed. All week long, I kept thinking of something Archbishop Sheen once said. Jealousy is the tribute mediocrity pays to genius. I guess this is all a tribute, if a rather ugly one.